Kambo's a very sophisticated medicine in a way that it doesn't like rip all the layers out at once, right? Because you're going through all these new experiences. One, you're feeling your heart in your head. Your ears are burning a little bit, and it feels like your heart's beating 1,000,000 miles an hour. Plus, you're hot and you don't know if you're gonna throw up. So, the first time experience, people are like, "Okay, I'm done. Take it off."
I mean, these aren't feelings that people choose normally. These are things that people are like, please make it stop.
Right.
It's work. If you want something out of anything in life, it's always hard.
As a pharmacist, it's hard for me to say this because, it's part of my business, but food is medicine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exercise is medicine. Pills are not always the answer.
The food thing is so important, man. I notice whenever I start to feel blue, if I just cut out simple carbohydrates and intermittent fast,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
all the like sadness goes away.
Yeah.
I was trying to work it into this conversation, but like anyone who's like averse to using any of these plant medicines, some of the biggest discoveries that we've made in like mainline the pharmaceutical industry. I'll give you a great example: the GLP-1 analogs, Ozempic, Zepbound. Everybody knows about these drugs now for weight loss. The first one that came to the market, Byetta, which was like 7 or 8 years ago, actually probably more like 10 now, was exenatide, and it was found from the saliva of Gila monsters.
Hmm.
And that was the first, and the GLP-1 analogs make up for like a huge
Yeah.
spend of the pharmaceutical industry right now.
Yeah.
Like, and if it wasn't for, searching beyond
Mhm.
and doing research on animals and plants, we wouldn't have half of the things that we have.
Well, that's why like ayahuasca was such a monumental change like in my life when I decided to finally do that after Los like talking to me for 4 years. Like, dude, you need this, bro. You're on edge. And then it just opened my mind up to, a bunch of different work. I mean,
Yeah.
you're my third shaman. And the other 2 shamans would like make you pass out with the It made it very uncomfortable. Like I hated it. I fucking hated it. But I would still do it. But I do it like once every 6 months or whatnot. And then I did it with you. And I'm like, God, he's so much nicer, man. It was a better experience. I purge. I feel great. Like, okay, let's do this once a month. Right.
Yep.
And it continued. But I know there's 2 more, Bufo and what's the other?
Mushrooms.
And mushrooms. And let's talk about Bufo for a minute.
Yeah, let's dig into those.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
Those 2 are great. And this
Do you
is
have any
kind of like
samples
what
to
you
pass out?
So what is Bufo? What exactly is that?
Bufo is found from the Sonoran Desert toad.
Yeah.
Kambo's a frog. Bufo's from the toad. And Bufo, like Kambo, is a secretion from the frog. It's also the frog's protective mechanism. It's also the compound that helps him attract mates and helps him during mating season. And somebody said earlier doing lines of Bufo, and traditionally when Bufo was very first administered, it was they would blow it up into their nostrils.
Yeah.
As like a snuff. And as time progressed and ways of smoking it became available, that's how it's now administered through inhalation. And there's different types of DMT. There's NDMT, which is found in ayahuasca, and in the crystalline form of it. And then there's 5-MeO DMT, and there's a synthetic form, and then there's Bufo. And this medicine is very beautiful. It's very intense. It's a quick medicine. It's only 20 minutes, but it's a medicine that gives you an opportunity to explore oneness, explore source energy. It's definitely an ego dissolution. It really strips all those things that don't serve you and allow you to see yourself as the most divine you as you can be. And I've
It's like the death experience.
Yeah.
So it's basically out of body death experience that when I did it, and I did it with a different shaman in Florida, I was fighting it hard because I was like, dude, I don't want to experience death. I don't think I'm supposed to. Like, I just mentally was like, I'm not supposed to do this.
So you knew that going in.
So I fought it hard, and he's like, take another hit. I took like 3 or 4. I don't even know how many. It was with another shaman, and I didn't pass out because normally you fall asleep for a little bit and you experience this, and I didn't. I just started crying, and it was like the worst experience. And I couldn't for like an hour and a half, and I had to pick up my wife and her friend at the airport. And I had like 2 hours, like, oh, you'll be in and out 20 minutes, you'll be good. So now, fast forward an hour and a half later, I'm like, I have to go pick up my wife, and I'm still crying. I was in the car, I'm like, why am I crying? Like, it was this horrible experience where, like, literally I picked them up, went to the hotel, and I downed alcohol to, like, get it the fuck out of me. So I had a very bad experience, but then I did it again, and I had a really beautiful experience when I accepted it. But it's definitely like, you lose your ego, everything. You're out and you're in nothing. And but continue. But like,
Yeah.
But so as somebody who's never done this, like it's a full blown like hallucination.
yeah, you're gone.
Like when you say
You're out of your body.
okay,
You're
so
not you
just
anymore, and like
out
you
in the
move
universe.
out, and then you lose self. Like you're not even you. You're pure energy. So, and you can talk about the science behind it, but it's like your pineal gland, right?
Yes.
And how it emits this during birth and death in a large amount, a little bit during REM sleep. And when you smoke this and it breaks the blood-brain barrier, you just fucking shoot off. And it's like, I don't think I'll do it again, but
Would you equate the experience to other other hallucinogens like LSD or mescaline or anything like that?
There's nothing on this planet that will give you this experience. You know, it's not like fractals like DMT. It's a one of a kind medicine. You know, and to Mike's point, about 2 years ago, I started like deep diving into podcasts on near death experiences. And just it was out of random, you know. It wasn't something that I just turned on.
you're bored.
Yeah, you know. And so I started listening to them talk about their near death experience, and I was like, oh wow, that sounded like this Bufo ceremony I had. Oh my God, this one sounded like this Bufo experience that I had.
Oh, trip out.
Yeah. And so you know, I already knew this about the compound, about, you know, the birth and death. But it was really interesting to me to hear how people go through these experiences through a traumatic event, and then come back from that experience. And you know, most of the time people who have near death experiences come back with a whole new um outlook on life in general. Sometimes their gifts are a little bit, you know, like maybe they're a little bit more psychic, maybe their intuition's more is tuned in. These different things happen after these near death experiences. And we see that also too when people consume 5-MeO. They come back and they have a whole new, you know, outlook on life, on who they are, what they want to be, the greatest version of themselves. You know, in a therapeutic sense, you know, I've seen a lot of people with PTSD, you know, severe childhood trauma, different things, and just in one session, be able to work through all that.
That's wild. So, we talked last time about ayahuasca.
Yeah.
What's the difference between ayahuasca, Bufo, and the other one that you just mentioned?
Sure. So ayahuasca is NDMT, but that one's a mixture of the chacruna and the ayahuasca vine, which allow for it to last that duration that it normally lasts. With the other NDMT, it's inhaled, and it's also like a 20-minute experience, right? And both of those medicines, I would like consider those more like earth plant medicine. Like the experience you're
At this realm.
yeah, you're in this
You're
realm
here,
of
you're you.
you're here, you're you.
Yeah.
There's visions, there's things happening. You're going through this journey and this experience.
But you're still kind of
But you're
grounded in
still
your body.
it. Yeah, you could get up and walk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you see some weird stuff, but
Yeah.
you're you, and I look at it as like that's the mother nurturing, cleansing. When I was like diving into it, like what are you? Like what is this? It was like the earth coming and like binding with me and cleaning me out.
And that's the ayahuasca.
That's ayahuasca, and that's like 4 or 5 hours of just putting in work, right? And then the combos, couple minutes putting in work, right? And then this could be, you know,
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And what was the other one you mentioned?
So that's Bufo, 5-MeO DMT. Yeah, so they have the synthetic form, which is you know, they've synthesized just the 5-MeO DMT. With Bufo, there's other things that are in there that help. for me personally, I'm probably gonna upset some people on this, but a lot of people are advocating for the use of synthetic 5-MeO DMT. Their argument is for the frogs out there and stuff like that. I think we should be protecting their habitat more than synthesizing this medicine. But when you take away the energy of the frog, you're just left with this compound, right? And I feel that there's a lot of or the toad, I'm sorry. There's a lot behind that. There's a lot to be said about that, because this energy that this toad has, one, the maestros and the shamans, they hold this animal as like a sacred animal. And when you go into this medicine, you could feel the toad holding you, the energy of that, the energy of the desert right there holding you while you're in this medicine. With 5-MeO, the synthetic, you're just like blast, like people are shaking a lot, the energy's moving. There's nothing like holding them and strengthening them in that medicine. Um, so those are the difference between the two.
I see.
Yeah. The other thing that's really important to know, and I'm speaking on a panel coming up about Bufo, is the way that it's collected. There's poachers out there that can collect a large amount of Bufo through scaring the frog by flipping it upside down. And the maestros from the Seti tribe, they sing to the frog. They only do extractions when they're coming up for mating season. They only take small amounts from the frog, and they'll go out and get another frog. They'll take a small amount. They'll go out and get another frog. And, the experience and the energy that you feel in that are completely separate. You'll see a lot of YouTube videos of people screaming and floundering and doing this whole crazy thing, which I don't recommend anybody going and watching these videos either. Especially if you haven't done the medicine yet, because it could be scary. It's not always like that.
Yeah, do no research.
Do no research. No,
Just come see Joe.
just come see me. No. But a lot of people, who sit with me, they equivalent it to like a spiritual orgasm almost, like the blissness, the oneness that you feel when sitting with the medicine that's collected properly with love, with intentions, and not scaring the animal or aggravating the toad at all.
Yeah, I would guess that if, different collection methods would potentially emit different chemicals, right?
Sure.
Like, because if you're scaring the toad, it might emit that, but also other things as part of that process.
Isn't that what the elites do? They scare the children and drink their blood.
I don't know. I'm still stuck on spiritual orgasm. I'm ready for that.
Crazy
But if
shit.
you promise me one of those, if you promise me one of those tomorrow, I'll come to your house again.
Crazy shit. We're talking about a different crazy shit.
Different
today.
crazy.
So I guess like the toad excretes it through its skin.
They do little it has like two little glands on it, different parts of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, like a milky substance. They secrete it onto glass, and then it dries.
Just let it dry.
And and then they scrape it off and bag it up.
I was scanning pictures of them all morning, so they're pretty cool looking. They're pretty cool looking animals for sure.
The toads?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah.
And then you do these sessions or like little spiritual events, San Diego and different places around the world. And you also incorporate mushrooms.
I do.
So like if, let's say you talked me into doing Bufo again,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And we did a weekend or something where we invited some of my close friends and coworkers, and we did it. What would it be like? Like how do you run those, and how do you incorporate the mushrooms into it?
The medicine, sitting with all these different medicines have also guided me into the work that I do. And, as I was talking earlier about each medicine having its stage in the journey, Kambo, we could say, is the deep cleanse.
Yeah.
Right. And that prepares you for these other medicines. When we go into Bufo, when we go into ayahuasca, and we go into mushrooms, we don't want to take a bunch of baggage with us.
No.
Especially superficial baggage, things that are like just from the core trauma that have created these other traumas in our lives, in our bodies, in our energetic field. And so, as I was saying, the combo takes it off by layers. So we cleanse out that superficial trauma. We release that energy. So that's the first one, cleanse. And then we go into Bufo. And that's like the reconnection, connecting back to source, connecting back to yourself, connecting back to oneness. And then in the evening time, we have a beautiful integration with mushrooms. And mushrooms saved my life. Cannabis helped me get through my sister's passing, but mushrooms saved my life. I was in a motorcycle accident in 2009, and from 2009 until 2015, I couldn't be in a car. I had to be really high in the back seat reading something, or I had severe PTSD. Every time I saw brake lights, I would go into a panic mode. It was a maestro, a shaman, that said, "Hey, you're not free. You're debilitated. You can't go out. You can't get in a car and drive by yourself."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, but I got a driver. I got the train. I got all these. Yeah, but you can't do it yourself. Without you having this panic attack, unless you're really high." And he offered me to sit in a mushroom ceremony with him, and I respectfully declined immediately, because my dad told me if I eat mushrooms that it's gonna fry my brain. And so I wasn't into any psychedelics at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing, we were programmed in that era, and so thank you for your advice, Maestro, but no, I'm gonna stick to the cannabis. It's working great for me. I went home, and because I had done so much research in cannabis, and I'd seen so many things that, changed my mind on the benefits of cannabis and how it can help us, I was intrigued. I was like, okay, well, I'm not just gonna put this away. I told him no, but I'm gonna research it myself. And even back in 2015, the anecdotal evidence and the efficacy around psilocybins, the data was there. It's safe. Nobody's eating mushrooms and dying. Nobody's eating mushrooms and being, taken off to the psych ward, all these things that I heard. And so I rang him and I said, "Hey, I think I'm going to try the mushrooms." And it wasn't your typical ceremony. He sat me in front of a tree. He gave me 4 grams, and he just told me to sit there.
4 grams
And
was plenty.
yeah, it was a decent amount. I watched that tree breathe for 5, 6 hours. I didn't know trees could breathe like that, and I sat there and I just watched. I wasn't really trying to work on anything. My intentions were to release this panic that I would have in the car, but that was pretty much the gist of it. He just wanted me to sit there and watch this tree. And I got in the car the next day, and I was fine.
That's crazy.
I didn't have any panic attacks. I
Really?
wasn't scared. You know, um, it was nothing short of a miracle. And I went from driving a big Suburban, or having a big Suburban that people drove me in, to an Audi. Started enjoying the road. Started like you know, uh, I turned the highways and the roads into like an adult go-kart track in my head. I was like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be on this go-kart track, and
You're just
everything's
on
fun.
high on mushrooms and cannabis, racing around,
No, I was
fucking
so
Mario Kart. Watch out, kids.
Watch out, kids! Here comes Mario. No, but yeah, I was blown away at how rapid it was. And in the cannabis space at that time, I was working with a lot of vets, and a lot of people with depression and anxiety, and sometimes cannabis, especially in like the higher indicas, they could onset depression, they could onset the anxiety for people, to where they don't want to use it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mushrooms were like a whole new opportunity for me to help people to heal these things.
At this time when you were doing the mushrooms, were you already like I were you already a shaman, or what exactly does one do to become a shaman? Is it like an apprenticeship, or is there
It's
some sort
8
of
years undergrad.
Yeah, but I'm just trying, like, that's what, like, can you walk us through, the listeners, a
He
little bit
just
through that
bought
journey and what it
the
Yeah,
scar.
you don't just buy the stuff on eBay, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a store called Shaman Deer, right? And just shaman. Shaman's actually a label people give me. It's not something that like I go around and say I'm a shaman. It's usually just how people describe
Yes.
the work that I do, shamanic work. But I've been in plant medicine and helping people heal since 2009. I started in 2008, but really started helping people heal in 2009. And all of these medicines that I work with have been my part of my healing journey. And I think that like a true shaman or medicine man, or someone that's carrying this medicine, is someone that used this medicine to heal themselves, right? And now we just want to give back. All I want to do is now share this with other people, because it's been so impactful in my life. And I wish my sister was around, or I wish I had these tools when my sister was around. I think we could have saved her, or at least gave her more comfort at the end of her life. I saw her deteriorate with the pharmaceuticals and the opiate induced constipation, and then the medicine for that, and then the medicine for this, before you know it, everything was shutting down. So I've spent many years working with people, and then I went and I did my due diligence, and I went and worked with shamans, with maestros, and learned from them. I trained down in the SETI with the SETI tribe in Mexico for my Bufo initiation, and a Yaqui shaman for my Kambo medicine. And mushrooms and cannabis have been just something that I learned on my own. I started working with the mushrooms after I started healing myself, and this maestro sat me in front of a tree. I was like, there's got to be better ways to do this.
Stare at the tree.
Yeah, I'm sure there's better work to do than this. And then wrapping it all up in our, the reason why we do this is, mushrooms create an abundant amount of new neural pathways, right? We're finding that. We're seeing these studies now. And so when you're diving into these other medicines like ayahuasca, Bufo, and DMT, there's a lot of information coming in, especially Bufo. Bufo's like plugging into the supercomputer sometimes. Like all this information's coming in, and like, where's it going? I found that mushrooms really help integrate this, right? It gives people opportunity to integrate, and being in a space where they don't have all this baggage. They just connect to source, and now they can really just tune into their inner child, right? Now they can do that work that we really need to get down to. What's hurting down in Jimmy? What's hurting down in that inner child? How can we help that? And I found that by doing this cycle that I do really helps people get to that point, get to the work of the inner child.
Yeah.
Instead of like, again, going back to that superficial baggage that we carry, right? That's just stuff because something happened down here that we need to heal most of the time. In our adulthood, we have trauma as well, but it's usually somewhere in that period before we become adult, whether it's a relationship, a girlfriend, like I said, parents, school, all these things that we go through as kids, we hold on to. So mushrooms allow us to get into that inner work and also create those new neural pathways for all this information that's coming in from the other medicines.
So how long does a mushroom ceremony last?
Anywhere between 3 to 5 hours. Yeah, but it's not like an ayahuasca ceremony. Mushroom's so gentle.
It's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier. Yeah, there's typically no purging. I've developed a really beautiful cacao formulation that I've had 0 people purge on me, and one person, I'm not going to mention his name, did 20 grams in my living room.
Wow, 20 grams of chocolate mushrooms. Sign me up.
Are mushrooms legal now in California?
They're not technically legal yet.
There's some gray area though, because I know there's smoke shops out here where you can get them.
Yeah, maybe you could chime in on that.
A lot of municipalities have stopped just enforcing it as a law. So like in Venice, there's a store that only sells psychedelic mushrooms and like psychedelic mushroom products.
Right. Some cities decriminalized it, right?
Well, I mean, it's still illegal, but they're like, we're just not going to enforce these laws
Let's have
anymore.
a road trip on the next day. We could do like a, meet in the middle on the road, and we'll go down to Venice and we'll go see the mushroom shop, get some camera crew. That'd be fun. I got one more question for you, just because I got a shaman here, and I don't know how often that's going to happen. So another plant medicine that's getting a lot of traction right now and is in the news is kratom, the 7-hydroxymetragenine. It's for those of you out there who've never heard of kratom or the chemical that's behind it.
What is it?
So the 7-OH, they call it. You can find it at like gas stations and stuff, and it's part of the kratom plant. And it works on the opiate receptors, but it's extreme. They think it's an alternative, but it's extremely addictive, like a regular opiate. So do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I'm right there with you. It's really unfortunate. And I'm probably going to upset a lot of people in this as well, because there's so many people making so much money with kratom. I can't tell you how many people come to me, because Kambo is great for addiction, right? People come to me for addiction all the time, whether it's food, sex, this. I've seen some horrible stuff. People withdrawing from kratom. I've seen kratom break up families like opiates.
Oh, wow.
I've seen people sneaking around to take their kratom. The withdrawals are very similar to opiates. And this is the thing, like it's not right away, right? So unlike opiates, like these symptoms, these things, doesn't come. It comes after time, and it's like time. Like, okay, I don't need it right now, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, dude, I do need it.
Yeah.
And it's so readily available. And so people think that it's safe.
It was really making me nervous. I had to ask about it because one of the pharmacies that I work at, Cornerstone Pharmacy in Palm Desert, you can edit that out if you want, but we service a ABC Recovery Center. So I just started seeing patients that are in inpatient treatment
For kratom.
for kratom.
Why is it still legal?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Bureaucracy moves slow. I mean,
But
that's-
mushrooms are illegal
Yeah.
in California.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
This is a relatively new phenomenon. I mean, no, it's been around for a long time, but the popularity.
Well, they're opening up kratom bars and kava bars, and people are substituting it for alcohol and opiates, because you do get this feeling. I think that a lot of it also has to do with like it's not significantly, especially in the recommended usage, right? Damaging to the body, but people take it out of that context, or again, it takes like a year of use, 6 months to a year before that dependency kicks in. Whereas with other things, you notice it right away. Opiates you become pretty dependent pretty quick. So yeah, I don't know, but it's really scary out there, especially again being in in smoke shops, and here I've seen a couple of older people talking about it and how it's help them reduce their inflammation, but again they don't know how the long-term effects, or if they decide go on a road trip or they don't have it, these withdrawals kick in really fast and they're really horrible.
I'm actually really interested in, like, you've brought up opioids a few times, and we're all familiar with like the products that the pharmaceutical companies make, right?
Mhm.
But is there a place in a plant medicine regimen where like products directly from a poppy that are more like a plant medicine become relevant?
I mean, I'm sure there can be, it's just a matter of if we're willing to do that. There's so many things that, I mean, Kambo and ayahuasca help pain so much. My last ayahuasca ceremony, I went down to the jungle, down to Peru, and I sat with the sheep people, and I did 6 days. I drank 6 days
Whoa.
of ayahuasca. I went there for my I was still having quite a bit of pain from my motorcycle accident. Combo and these other medicines helped a lot, relieve a lot of the pain, but there was still some stuff I couldn't get rid of. And, guys, like, this pain was becoming debilitating. I was at a point where like, I was smoking a lot of cannabis, I was doing combo a lot and I just couldn't get rid of it. And so, I took the trip out to Peru, and, these maestros sung the pain out of my body. I don't know how to really, explain it more than that. Because I mean, I was going through this experience that was, they call it bomba, which is, not knowing if you're purging, pooping, peeing, you're just wet for some reason, and all of these things are going on, and you're in front of the maestro and he's singing to you, and you're purging while that's happening into a bucket. And so, but I could feel, whatever they were doing. So there's multiple ways to do ayahuasca. There's one way of just sitting with ayahuasca by itself, and then they have plant diets, right? And so this particular plant that I was dieting was called cherry sinango, and both the ayahuasca and that plant work together in to work on whatever your intentions are. Cherry sinango is really good for the bones and for pain and stuff like that. But I walked out of there with no pain. I mean, I'm rollerblading in Hermosa Beach and doing handstands and hot yoga.
How long ago was this? How long ago?
7 months I've been without any pain.
So the pain didn't come back?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I've been without any pain for 7 months. It's been amazing.
And where's the pain?
It was lower back, sciatica, in the legs. Yeah, mostly lower back. I have a torn disc in my lower back that's pushing on a nerve. I had to find so many scans before they found it. A specialist found it. And he basically told me I was going to be in pain the rest of my life unless I had the surgery, And I was like, well, I'm too young to have a surgery, because I guess you only get a couple of those. And so, I'm like, I'm going to push this pain a little bit longer and see if I can help myself, and here I am, again, like just completely pain-free. And, ayahuasca did it, the work that I did with Combo helped. So
Well, you can't package that up and sell it as a pill or a shot Like,
a lot of people get in there and they'll say, "Well, I got these fentanyl patches for you," or "I got hydromorphone or Telon, I got something else that will treat for you." And to start it so young, I mean, imagine what the rest of your life would look like and the tolerance level you would have, and
Right.
to be super dependent upon those medications for the rest of your life.
Right.
You know, it makes a trip to Peru sound a little bit more appealing to me.
but it's a big step. Like for someone to say, I'm going to Peru
For sure.
for 6 days during
For sure.
ayahuasca where I'm shitting myself. Like,
They're not even giving patients in America an option. They're not talking about, there are some alternatives out here. There are some cannabinoids that might help you. These are some other alternatives that could be used as adjunct therapy, or you might find that it works better.
Right.
yeah.
My grandmother suffered for like almost 20 years of nerve pain down her leg. And, you know, I ended up like, I found a particular time in my journey that I was going to tell my grandma what I did. And, you know, I called my pops up and was like, hey, you know, her friend had cancer and I wanted to tell him because I knew that I could at least help his symptoms. And, unfortunately, you know, his mindset was old school and he was like, I'm not, no marijuana, you know, okay. But my grandma was like, do you think it'll help with my pain? And like immediately I turned to her and I was like, yeah, grandma. And, you know, I think she's 83. I hope she's, we'll call her 80. Let's say 80. Yeah. I don't want to go too old and she sees this. But we just did a big trip to Big Bear and she was out on the pontoon boat with us all day. And, you know, she's been about 15 years now without this pain just from cannabis oil. And she just rubs it on every day. And they couldn't figure out what it was. They didn't know where the pain was coming from. And, you know, minus the ayahuasca and Kambo and all these other things, she just did cannabis. You know, she rubs it on every day. She does a regimen and she's out doing things.
She's out water skiing in Big Bear. Well, one leg.
Yeah. So there's ways, you know, there's ways to manage it that we don't have to, you know, one, destroy our organs and to become dependent on something for the rest of our lives. Yeah.
So if someone wants to come to one of your ceremonies and whatnot, how can they reach you?
They could contact me through Instagram, my email. Do you want me to give that out right now? Or
Yeah, if you want to, it's up to you. If you want a bunch of people calling you,
yeah, of course.
my 100 viewers.
Hey, you might get some nasty emails because I'm going to share it I'm going to share these plant-based medicines one to the Accidental Pharmacist page where there's 143,000 followers mostly.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
haven't shared any other episode.
Yeah, but I want to share these ones and let them know so you might get some people on the other side of saying like, you know, this is not really for me, or I can't believe Shane went on this episode, or those kind of things. But I think it's important, and I want a lot of pharmacists and I want other healthcare professionals to look at this and have a frank discussion about what needs to change with our current healthcare system and how we can, if we're truly trying to ease suffering and to make the American healthcare system better, we need to have a shift, and we need to have a discussion about this shouldn't be taboo the way that it is now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And I don't mind the conversations. I love to help people and open up their minds. You know, I've been doing this for quite a long time, and you know, I can't deny the things that I've seen. You know, I've seen so many miracles, if you will, and people's lives changed with these medicines. So I'm always open to having these discussions with folks who are not so like-minded.
You heard that, guys? Get ready to fight.
Let's go. Jimmy at jennysrose.com. Yeah. Anytime.
We're gonna link it.
Okay.
But I really appreciate you coming out. I
Yeah,
know it was
thanks for
last
having me.
minute.
Thank you so much for the experience today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all the work
Yes.
you do for me.
Thanks.
And it
Yeah.
trickles down to my family and everyone in my life. So, and thanks, guys. This
All
was a
right.
nice 2 episodes.
Oh, these were fun.
All right, guys. Good night. A breath of stars, a shimmered flame, the self dissolves yet feels the same. Through woven light, the spirit streams, a gentle ride of endless dreams. Shadows fall, old pain released, the heart expands, the noise has ceased. Closer to God, in silence deep, the soul awakens from its sleep.